12 clever ways for girls to crush it on their first date. So how can you be irresistible to a guy when you're on your first date with him? By watching this video to the end, you'll understand the best tips for having the ultimate first date. Welcome to Digital Wonder. If you are new here, subscribe for more psychology videos, and comment down below, "I subscribed," and let us welcome you. Let's get straight into the first date tips. Number 1. Don't go to the movies on your first date. It's the ultimate dating sin. It's the worst thing you can do, apart from talking about your ex, or smelling bad. The worst thing you can do is go to a movie together on your first date. Cinemas are terrible, because you have to stare silently at a large screen for 2 hours, while your feelings are triggered. In other words, afterward you will be totally flattened socially, overstimulated emotionally, and then you have to try to be social again. It's always a disaster. Number 2. Pick an activity that would be fun going to alone. People often go out to dinner on their first date and must constantly focus their attention on each other. That's a bad idea because you're fixed on each other the entire time, which reinforces the feeling of anxiety. As a result, a lot of attraction is lost unnecessarily when the two of you can't touch subtly. You cannot leave easily if you do not like him, as you must sit through almost the entire dinner. You could, for example, choose an activity that you can both enjoy, in which both of you are relaxed. For example, have fun together by playing crazy golf. Alternatively, you can take a walk along the beach, take a bike ride around town, or visit a zoo. Number 3. Don't be late. Don't listen to the advice you've read in the magazines about being late for a first date. It's not worth it. Is it alright with you if he arrives half an hour late? Most likely not. This is something that most guys take very seriously. He'll probably be gone in just a few minutes if you don't respect his time. Even being 10 minutes late is disrespectful, and it will leave him with a bad impression of you. Preparing for a date might make you late, so give yourself ample time before you leave for the date. This way, you'll impress him and look stunning at the same time. Number 4. First impressions are everything. We can't help but judge books by their covers. The speed at which this happens makes what we see sometimes more powerful than what we know. It makes no difference what we think. We form an opinion about someone within a second. Research shows that this first impression plays a role in determining whether or not that particular person is reliable, nice, and how attractive they seem. Before you even say a single word, all of these things happen in less than a second. You shouldn't ignore how your impression is perceived by others. Your attitude, what you say, and other things play a significant role in a first impression. In order to make a great impression on him, here's what you should do when you meet him for the first time. Relax, smile, and stand straight with your shoulders back. Look him straight in the eyes. If he shakes your hand instead of hugging you, then make sure he gets a firm handshake back. Number 5. Don't let your date turn into an interview. In order to build a strong connection quickly, you would think that it would be best to ask each other lots of questions. However, this is not true. Scientists from Stanford University tested 1,000 4-minute speed dates in a science experiment. According to the study, couples that asked each other the most questions had weaker connections. Taking an interest in him is great, but when all you're doing is asking questions, it feels like you're conducting an interview. When asking questions, keep them as open as possible. An open question makes a conversation more engaging. As an example, if you hear he lived overseas for 3 years, you can then ask, "That's great, you must never get homesick." He will find it difficult to ignore this kind of comment, since you aren't asking him for anything. Aim to alternate open questions and statements. Number 6. Keep your appearance in check. Some women purposely don't dress up too much on their first date, believing it makes them seem too desperate. However, that's complete nonsense. The opposite is true. It never fails to impress men when a woman takes the time to look brilliant. Having a woman do her best for you is a sign of respect in men's eyes. Don't neglect your appearance. Grooming a little too much is far better than being undergroomed. Number 7. Don't get drunk. Having lots of alcohol makes it impossible for you to get a good sense of someone. This can lead to saying or doing things that you may regret later. Therefore, avoid doing it. You can limit your wine drinking to 1 or 2 glasses, or you can do without it entirely. If getting tipsy together is your thing, you can always do so on your honeymoon. Number 8. Let him share his passions and dreams. People on dates often reflect on where they are right now, where their lives are at, and how everything is going right now. A conversation like this is very superficial and boring. Having a passion-based conversation with someone is an exciting way to catch their attention. This enhances and enriches the interaction. This is a lot more interesting than what's happening at the moment. Be sure to share your dreams and passions with him as well. It's wonderful to know about them, and at the same time, you have a much more interesting conversation than you would have on a typical first date. Number 9. Do not use these insecure words. This does not mean that before you say something, you must analyze it or hide specific information. However, do not say these words too often, maybe, a little, and I think so. The results of an experiment with 1,000 speed dates revealed that you appear more insecure when you use these words in a conversation often. It is therefore best to steer clear of this kind of indecisive talk. There is nothing attractive about uncertainty. Number 10. Mute or turn off your phone. I understand the desire of your girlfriends to find out how your date is going. But don't invite those who follow you on social media to this date. Your phone has an off switch, so make use of it, and if that seems like overkill, just mute it and put it in your bag. You can quickly check it if either of you goes to the bathroom. This is because a woman who is constantly glued to her phone is a major turn off, and fatal to a date's tension and energy. Until the date is over, you should turn off your mobile phone or at least put it on silent mode. Number 11. Show him that you are interested in him. Having a great conversation is much easier when you take an interest in the other person, instead of trying to impress him with your good qualities. Here's how it works in your favor. If you take a genuine interest in him, then at one point during the date he will think about how much he's been talking about himself, and he'll ask you to tell him more about yourself. If he doesn't do that, then you know right away that he's a selfish individual who only cares about himself. In contrast, a normal guy would be inclined to take an interest in you, because you're genuinely interested in him. It's a little bit like a scale. If he takes an interest in you, then he wants to keep the balance, so he'll also take as much interest in you. Number 12. Touch him. On a first date, subtly touching him might seem a little scary. The truth is, it's a simple way to gain his attention. But that's not all. Studies have shown that touching someone makes them believe that you are taller, more attractive, and trustworthy. It would be a shame not to take advantage of this. Give your date a hug and even a kiss at the beginning and end. Touch his shoulder briefly while he is telling a joke. You could put a brief hand on his back when you go to the bathroom, just be careful not to overdo it. This increases the likelihood he will see you as a potential partner and not just a friend.